Sternberg to move this team back or to move this team to Montreal, to bring baseball back to Montreal. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. You can't operate like this. You can't sustain a business model like this. And more than that, I mean, you look at, there's no progress being made on a new park in Tampa or St. Pete. And I'm here to tell you something. I do not believe that it is the great panacea that everybody believes, or some believe it would be, if the Rays are to get a new ballpark. I just don't think that area, which is flooded with retirees, is going to be able to sustain a Major League Baseball club. I don't care if they've got the most gorgeous, brand new, state-of-the-art ballpark in America. I just don't see it working there. I just don't see it working there. It's not going to work there. So get them out of there. Move them. Get them into Montreal. That's where I want to see baseball go back to. Because when that happens, I'm moving, actually, to Montreal. I don't know if I've told anybody that yet. But if the Expos, if there's a rebirth of baseball, Major League Baseball, in the city of Montreal, I'm moving to Montreal. I'm renouncing my American citizenship. And at the same time, I will seek to become a Canadian citizen. And the biggest Expos fan on planet Earth. I'm going to do all of that. And I'm bringing Kimo Sabe with me and Jim Ross. And we will become the leaders of the new Montreal Expos. That's going to happen. It's going to happen. Mark my words. I'll be doing the show from Montreal, which wouldn't be bad. Montreal's a great city. My goodness, is that a beautiful city. Beautiful, great food, great culture. Old town Montreal is just, the architecture, Mr. Joshua, have you ever seen pictures? Oh, it's just amazing. That's amazing. It's terrific. And so I'd be going to Montreal. If they get baseball back, I'm going to Montreal, and I would not have any regrets. And we'd get there as soon as we could. We'd take all this equipment with us, and we'd set up shop somewhere in downtown Montreal and having a great time. And then I'd learn French. And in fact, I could actually do 2 shows per day, one in English and one in French, which I understand is a very difficult language to acquire. Why is that? I've always heard that English, actually, the native tongue here, the official language of the Dino Costa show, the native tongue of English, I've always heard English is a very difficult language to learn for people who don't know it. And so if English is that difficult, and some of the stupidest people in the world have been able to acquire basic skills in terms of communicating in English, how difficult could it be to learn French? Well, and the reason I hear English is difficult to learn is because I believe this is to be true now, that no other language contains words that have so many meanings as English does. You know what I mean? I mean, like the word, for instance, let me think of one. No. No. Now, no means a lot of different things. Do you know him? Can I go over there? No. Do you know him? And you're asking me a question. Do you know him? Oh, I know where that is. No, you can't do that. Right? There's a lot of stuff that means a lot of different things. I don't think that's the case in any other language, as far as I know. So English is, from what I understand, a very difficult language to learn. And if that's the case, well then, I might actually start taking French lessons. I don't know if there's anybody here in Wyoming that can teach me, but you go to like Barnes & Noble, and they've got those tapes. You can learn, a different language in like 6 months or something like that. I don't know. Or you can learn at least enough to get you by in 6 months. I really envy those people that know like 4 or 5 different languages. How do they do that? Because one of the things I would think is that if you don't use a language, right? I mean, let's say you know French or you know Espanol, right? You know German. You know Portuguese, right? I went out with a Portuguese girl one time, and I always insisted that she speak Portuguese to me because I liked the way she sounded when she spoke Portuguese. I didn't know what she was saying, but I always liked to hear her speak in the Portugal tongue. But anyway, my point is this. Let's say you know Portuguese, or you know in Brazil, I don't know if you know this, Mr. Joshua, where the World Cup is soon to start. That is the only country in South America that does not, the native tongue is not Spanish. In Brazil, they speak Portuguese, not Spanish. But here's the deal. I mean, if you don't use a language, don't you? It's like if you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't use German, don't you lose it? Because you're not thinking in German. You're not. You know who knows French? I was blown away by this. If you go online, you can find this. I was blown away by the fact that he speaks fluid French. Mick Jagger speaks fluid French. I don't know if you knew that. Go YouTube it. 1971 Mick Jagger French interview. It's amazing. I mean, this guy, and he's speaking French. Mick Jagger, the front man for the badassest the rock band in the world, speaks French. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Mick Jagger knows French. So anyway, I don't even know how I got into this whole thing about different languages and whatnot. I don't know. I know. I was talking about going to Montreal, becoming a citizen of Canada, renouncing my American citizenship, and then learning how to speak French. Because I think it's a beautiful language, by the way. I don't, any language I hear, it could be Spanish, it could be French, it could be German, it could be Italian. I mean, I grew up in a household, you know, my grandmother and grandfather were speaking Italian all the time. I didn't know what they were saying. I don't even know how they understood what they were saying because it just so, you know, it sounds so foreign to the ear who is not grown up speaking that. And what's the amazing thing is this, is that someone who speaks German, right, or Italian or whatever, and they're listening to me or you talk or somebody else talk English, you know, it sounds like gibberish to them, just like what they're talking sounds to us. It's amazing, this language thing. But, yeah, so I've made my point known that the Tampa Bay Rays need to move out of Florida and into Montreal and let us have the can we have the Expos back, please? Can we please have the Expos back? Your numbers, you want to get on board today, you can if you feel like it. It's toll-free. 844-GET-DINO, 844-438-3466. It's toll-free. And you can email me anytime, any place, anywhere. It is Dino@the DinoCostaShow.com. Dino@the DinoCostaShow.com. Fight on, Sterling! Fight on, baby! Fight on, you raging bastard, you senile old bastard. Fight on. Take the NBA down. Fight the Adam Silver. Where is that bastard? Adam Silver, I had his damn picture. Where'd it go? Did I bring it home? No, here it is. Camera, please, Chemo, Sabe. Which one? Which one? Over here. Look at this. Fight this son of a bitch. Take this goofy-looking, Martian-looking, alien-looking pissant down. Do it! Fight on, baby. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. Here you go with a law. Here, Adam Silver. You son of a bitch. Here. Right here's your Steve Ballmer and your $2 million right here up your ass. Fight on, Donald Sterling. Son of a bitch. I mean, the other day he gets out of bed. No, everything's okay. You know, yeah, we're going to sell. Yeah, you start over. I knew it. I knew one day. Didn't I say, I think it was Monday of yesterday and Friday of last week. I said, hey, why don't has Don Sterling said anything? Has he said anything to anybody? Because depending upon what way he gets out of bed in the morning, it determines what he's going to do. After saying, no, we're going to sell the team. Ballmer can have the team for $2 billion in cash. Everything's good. NBA's fine. I don't want any problems. No. No, he's changed his mind. He's going, which camera now? Which camera? We're still on that one? Right here. Take this son of a bitch down. Bankrupt the league. Stand up for your civil and personal rights. Bring this goofy motherfucker down to his knees. Do it! Do it! Man, I'm fired up. I'm fired up when it comes to this stuff, aren't I? I love people that fight. Fight! Don't give in. Don't capitulate. Don't backpedal. Show some backbone, baby. Do it. Calm down, Dino. Calm down. It's not your team. I know it's not my team. Mr. Joshua, I know it's not my team. But the fact of the matter is, I was disappointed when Donald Sterling decided to walk away and say, nah, they can have the team. Give me the $2 billion. Fight on. Now watch, this senile old bastard's going to get up tomorrow and he's going to have the different kind of a response. And his attorneys are going to say, no, he's decided to, you know what, he doesn't want to go through with the whole thing. But the latest news coming out in the last 24 hours, Donald Sterling says, hey, I've just begun to fight. I'm fighting, baby. I intend to fight. Here it is. You know what's interesting, too? Here's something interesting, folks. Let me calm down first, okay? Just let me just roll it back a little bit here. Just slow your roll. Roll it back, just for a second here. Regain your composure. All right, I'm back. I've regained my composure. I'm okay. But listen, here's the thing. I'm watching. Now, we got Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. Am I right about that? There's Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight? Yes. Miami, of course, is going to win 2 in Miami. He's going to bring it back to San Antonio after I personally guaranteed that the Heat would win in Game 2, right? They're going to bring it back to Oklahoma City, and they're going to win 2 games and have a closeout situation in Game 5, okay? But here's what I'm thinking the other night. Maybe you were as well. Because the other night was when the news came out that Donald Sterling was going to beg off of this lawsuit against the National Basketball Association and this alien-looking thing that was on the cover of Sports Illustrated just a few short weeks ago. Right? So I'm thinking about it, and I'm watching the game, and I watch everything. I watch all the games. And I'm watching, and I'm saying to myself, let me get this right. Marv Albert is calling an NBA game. Marv Albert has been calling NBA games the last several years. Marv Albert is thought of to be someone who's a swell guy. Who's your favorite NBA guy? Marv Albert at the microphone here in Oklahoma City, where the Thunder and Kevin Durant have a chance to knock off the San Antonio Spurs alongside. And so everybody loves Marv, right? Oh, I grew up listening to Marv calling Rangers and Knicks games. Oh, Marv is great. Oh, Marv is beautiful. Marv this, Marv that. Marv is great. Marv, let's blow Marv. Marv is great. Everybody loves Marv. What'd you say? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to rain on your Marv Albert parade. Marv Albert raped and sodomized a woman. And yet, Marv Albert at the microphone for another NBA game. Yes, Marv Albert has been calling NBA games for a while now. I did rape, I did sodomize a woman, I did settle the case before the details became too juicy, and I would have had to commit suicide if all of the grotesque details came out. Marv Albert went underground for a few years and then rose back up, and now he's the same NBA icon he's always been. Marv Albert. Same NBA icon he's always been. Right? Okay. So I'm thinking of that. Thinking Don Sterling is the evilest of the evil. He's the worst of the worst of the worst. I mean, you think Don Sterling, and you think about levels of evil that are incomprehensible to the human mind. He's got to go. We got to get rid of him. Okay, this douchebag. What camera now, Kimosabe? Where are we here? Where are we? Where are we? Still on that camera. We haven't changed. All right, so we're on this camera. I'm sorry. So this douchebag stands up. Oh, now we're on this camera. Okay, get your cameras right, will you? So it was the day off that's got you out of sync. So, so this douchebag stands up before an audience of assembled fellow douchebags who make up the most of the mainstream media, and he announces that he's out. He's out, suspended for life, taking away the team, constitutional rights be damned. We got this thing here, it's called an NBA Constitution. A what? An NBA Constitution. You mean constitutions in America mean things these days? Well, maybe not to Obama and his minions, but in the NBA, we abide by this Constitution right here. Okay, so he's got to go, right? I've been through this, I think, before. I've talked about this many times. So Sterling's got to go at every cost. I mean, it's just there's no negotiation. There's no forgiveness. There's no apology. There's no credence given to the fact that he was taped illegally. Has V. Stiviano, that bitch, has she been arrested yet, by the way? Has she been arrested? What is taking so long to arrest this bitch? This opportunistic whore is out there making the media rounds on this show, that show, and the other show. I thought she broke a law in the state of California. Well, why isn't she being arrested? Why isn't she behind bars? Why isn't she being prosecuted? You mean V. Stiviano gets to keep coming to NBA games, but Donald Sterling doesn't? Wait, it gets even better. It gets even better. It gets even better. How so? Well, I just spoke about Marv Albert. Now, let's get on to me watching the post-game show on NBA TV the other night. Maybe you were watching it. Maybe you were watching it. I was watching it. I was watching it. They set this little table up out on the court. And around I think Matt Weiner is the guy who hosts. And then there's Chris Webber is involved. And I'm trying to think of the other people. Grant Hill is involved. And then there's one other person that's involved this is on NBA TV. Now, Donald Sterling's the worst of the worst, okay? Got to get rid of him. Can't have him around the NBA. But Marv Albert, sodomizer, rapist, he can be around the NBA. Glad-handing people, signing autographs, the face of the NBA. I wish I had been at that press conference. What camera? Kimosabe? What camera now? Come on, tell me. I wish I'd been at the press conference with this fuckstick right here, okay? I really do. I wish I'd been at the press conference with this asshole because my hand would have been raised. And you know what I would have said? I would have said, Mr. I would have been kind. I would have been civil. I would have said, Mr. Commissioner, in light of what you're saying about Donald Sterling and his banishment from the National Basketball Association, and you're taking away his team, I guess all the details will be meshed out over the next coming weeks, months, and potentially years, depending upon, this is the first time I'm really addressing a camera in the 6 weeks I've been doing this show. How about that? I don't pay attention to the cameras. But I'm doing this because I'm making believe that I'm talking to Donald Sterling here. Here's Sterling. Here, let me put it up this way so I can see Sterling. Mr. Commissioner, may I ask a question? In light of what you had just got done saying about Don Sterling, the owner of the Clippers, who I guess you think now is not going to be the owner of the Clippers, can you tell me how the NBA squares itself having someone like Marv Albert, a sodomizer, a potential rapist, and also something like, or someone like Isaiah Thomas being a part of the National Basketball Association, working for the network that the NBA themselves funds, NBA TV, Marv Albert, a rapist and a sodomizer, Isaiah Thomas, convicted of sexual harassment. You mean to tell me, Mr. Commissioner, forget the cameras. You mean to tell me, I do a radio show, I don't pay attention to the cameras. You mean to tell me, Mr. Commissioner, that on one hand, Donald Sterling is the scourge of the earth. We've got to get rid of him at every cost. But you mean to tell me that Isaiah Thomas, someone convicted of sexual harassment, someone who disgraced one of the signature franchises in the National Basketball Association, Mr. Commissioner, your hometown New York Knicks, and Marv Albert, who for years was known as the voice of the New York Knicks and the voice of the NBA on NBC, you mean to tell me that these people are okay, that the NBA squares their participation within the league, but Donald Sterling has got to go? Would you kindly explain to me, Mr. Commissioner? No, don't cut me off, Mr. Commissioner. Don't you try to cut me off. Hold on. My questions are just as relevant as everybody else here. Just because the rest of these douchebags sit down and blow you because they think you're doing the right thing, I'm here to challenge your ass, you freaky deaky little moron pissant. You look like you were born on Mars. Will you tell me how and why Marv Albert and Isaiah Thomas, and I could go on and name a few other people, why these people are allowed in the National Basketball Association and Donald Sterling is not? Can you give me a fucking reason? Don't you ignore my question! Answer me and answer me now!